over yonder, so I can take a look around at what you've seen. I can see from where I am you're on an adventure, in a place you can't describe. Some things can't be captured in words. So show me colors, colors I need, pictures this time. Show me food and sights and sounds. I wanna know what you find. I want colors, colors, please show me. Life ain't black and white. Let me see you on the other side of the line. Show me colors, ooh. Show me colors, ooh. Wait to see your smiling face. Even if it's just online, it brings me something I can't define. There's this time. Show me food and sights and sounds. I wanna know what you find. I want colors, colors, please show me. Life ain't black and white. Let me see you on the other side of the line. Swirling round and round in my head more than all the...
Alright, what's up mga kamat learner? Isang magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Welcome sa ating discussion dito sa ating channel, si Math Teacher Ash, at welcome sa ating session sa live sa discussion on modules. And for today, we are going to discuss the lessons or the modules for the grade 9 students. And this is the second quarter, second module in our live session, which is entitled Solving Problems Involving Variations. So in this discussion or in this live sessions, you will learn how to apply what you have learned last week on variations in the real life setting. Okay, napakadali lamang ng lesson na ito. And my dear students, if you are new to this channel, hope you can subscribe, and also to have more engagement to our fellow and to reach people more or reach students more, you can also click that like button. Okay, simulan na natin ang ating discussion. And by the way, welcome students from the different sections and different public schools, if ever meron dito, sa ating channel about quarter 2, module 2 for the grade 9 students. Alright. Okay, simulan na natin ang ating discussion. Okay, so hopefully klarong-klaro ang aking sounds. Alright? So, in the second quarter of the module 2 for this school year, the topic is all about solving problems involving variations. We already discussed last time what are the variations, what is the definition of a variation. It is the relationship of two or more quantities, whether it is direct or inverse, or it could be joined and combined. Now, we always consider the constant that is always needed in this relationship. Otherwise, kung walang constant, regardless, meron silang relationship like direct relationship or inverse relationship, as long as hindi constant yung parang pagbabago nila, then that is not considered as a variation. Okay, welcome na welcome kayo dito, students. All right. Now, let us continue. Now, of course, in this module, you will be started with the cover page and then the message from the people behind the module and the introductory message for the facilitator and for the learners. And then the discussion will start in the fourth page, which is the Let Us Learn. In this part, you will know the objectives of the module. So, the objectives of the discussion is to recall how to translate variations, statements, into mathematical equation. The second one is to solve word problems involving direct, inverse, joint, and combined variations, as well as to apply a step-by-step in solving word problems involving variations. Now, I'm sure pag sinasabi nating word problems, isa na ito sa mga nahihirapan ng mga lessons ng student. Ay, ayoko ng word problems kasi hindi ko maintindihan. Basically, kung kulang ka sa foundation ng topic na pinag-uusapan, of course, mahihirapan ka talaga pag i-apply ito into real life setting. But I think what we had last week about variations, the discussion about variations, I'm sure if ever we will apply it to our real-life setting, I'm sure na medyo madali na lang talaga ito para sa inyo. Alright, now let us continue. Okay, so in this second part, we have the let us try. Ito pa rin yung pre-test, of course. So, kung meron na kayong idea about variations and then it will be applied into the real-life setting, pwede kayong magkaroon ng malaking score dito because you already have a prior knowledge about the variations. But no pressure, since this is a let us try or a pre-test, of course, kung ano lang yung nalaman nyo or ano lang yung prior knowledge ninyo, you just do what you can answer here. Alright. Okay, so now let us go to the next part, which is the discussion itself, the let us study. Now, in the let us study, we have here, hindi na pag-uusapan kung anong ibig sabihin ng variation, hindi na pag-uusapan kung ano ang definition ng variation. Instead, pag-uusapan na natin ngayon, paano ba or ano ba yung mga step-by-step na i-consider natin para masagot ang mga problems involving variation. So, ito yon. Number 1, determine what type of variation is being emphasized. Of course, kasi kung iisipin natin sa isang problema, kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung problema, paano mo siya isosolve? So, therefore, the first thing you should know is, anong klaseng problema ba ito? Is it a direct variation? Is it an inverse variation? It is a joint or a combined variation? So, dapat alam mo muna. Now, if ever malaman mo na kung anong klaseng variation ang tinutukoy sa problema, the second thing you should do is to translate the statements into a mathematical equation. So, of course, di ba, if you could remember, last time or last week, we have discussed kung paano yung mga words ita-translate natin into variables or into representations in mathematics. Alright. Next is to solve the constant. Ito yung naman. Of course, kasi once you solve the constant and then you get that constant, it will be applied to either or to any situation in terms of that problem. Okay? And then after that, you solve for the unknown variable or quantity. So, matapos mo makuha si constant, i-solve mo na. And finally, you write a concluding statement to verify the answer of the question being asked from the problem. Okay, so ganun lang kadali. Parang normal step in solving problems. My dear learners, please huwag kayong mag-spam ng mga pangalan ninyo. Don't you worry because I know kung ano yung mga nakalagay sa chat natin, this will be recorded. So, hindi na yan mawawala. So, please huwag kayong mag-spam. Yes, I acknowledge the people behind or the people watching right now. Okay. So, now let us consider the next. We have now the direct variation. So, paano ba mag-solve ng... Of course, alam na natin kung anong ibig sabihin ng direct variation. Pag tumaas yung isa, of course, tataas din yung isa. Pag bumaba yung isa, pababa din yung isa. Dalawa lamang ang variables na pinag-uusapan dito or dalawang quantity. So, examples of those or of this variation is y varies directly as x, where k is the constant of variation. Okay. Example here, application, the service fee F of an online tutor varies directly as the number of hours N rendered. So, ang F ay nakabase kay N. So, F is equal to Kn, where K is the constant and F is the service fee and N is the number of hours. So, habang tumataas yung oras na nagtututor ka, lumalaki din yung bayad mo. Okay, ganun lang yun. That is a direct variation. So now we have here the certain problems. Okay, example number 1 sa direct variation, paano ba mag-solve? Okay, example dito. Example number 1, the electrical current given in the symbol I or L, I think this is an I. Okay, current in amperes, which is the unit of measure, A, varies directly as the voltage in a simple circuit, V, capital V. If the current is 5 amperes, when the source voltage is 15 volts, what is the current when the source voltage is 25? Okay. So, this is an example of direct variation because sinabi na dito sa statement that varies directly. Okay. Ayun. Pangalawa is that the given are amperes and the voltage. So, it says here that the more voltage you have, the bigger amperes you will get. Okay. So, What is the solution? Pwede ka na magbigay dito ng representation. I be the electric current in ampere, V as the voltage of the source. But, of course, if ever in the given, binigay na agad kung ano yung mga letters, you can always start with the translation itself. So, ano yung translation? Yun yung equation. So, since this is a variation, so we have I is equal to KV, where K is the constant, I is the current, and V is the voltage. Okay. So, next mong gagawin is to solve for the K. Of course, ang unang binigay na statement is 5 amperes. You will get 5 amperes when the source voltage is 15. So, we have here, okay, I hope you can see this one. Medyo palakihin natin. Alright, ayan. Okay, so solving for K, we have the formula, I is equal to KV. Our I is 5 amperes, and 15 voltage. So, 5 is equal to K15. Now, in getting or in solving this one, you will both divide both sides by 15 para ang matira na lang is K. So, you divide this by 15, you divide this by 15. So, makancel yung 15 dito. Yung 5 divided by 15, okay? Question, divide ba ang 5 sa 15? Alright, hindi, di ba? So, if that is the case, then ang mangyayari niyan is just get the lowest term. 5 over 15 is equal to 1/3 or 1 over 3. Pag gusto mong kunin ang decimal value nito, that is 0.3333. Hindi yan matatapos. Okay, repeating and non-terminating decimal yan siya. Now, question, did you answer the problem? Of course, not yet. Why? Because K pa lang ang nasosolve mo dito. So, right now, ang sinabi sa problem is that ano daw ang magiging current when the voltage is 25. So, ngayon, meron ka ng K. So, pwede mo nang gawin ang equation of variation mo. So, I is equal to KV. Magiging I is equal to 1/3 V. Okay, ito na yan. Okay, so 1/3 V or 0.33 V. So, we have here I, which is yung unknown natin na bago. Our K is 1/3 or 0.33. Now, my dear students, I just like to emphasize, 1/3 man ang gamitin mo or 0.33 man ang gamitin mo, the answer will still be the same. Okay. So, 0.33 and then your voltage is 25. So, you just multiply this 2 and the answer is 8.25. Kung 1/3 naman, 25 times 1, 25. 25 divided by 3, then the answer is 8.25 amperes. So, this will be your final answer for your problem. Okay, so thus, the electric current should be 8.25 amperes when the source voltage is 25. Okay, ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Okay, so now let's go to example number 2. So we have here, example number 2, the pressure P, of course, binigay na ang letter, at the bottom of a swimming pool varies directly as the depth, D. Okay, P at D ang gagamitin natin of the water. If the pressure is 300 Pascal when the water is 5 meters deep, find the pressure when it is 8 meters deep. So, given here, sinabi pa rin, varies directly. So, this is a direct variation. So, you will have P is equal to KD, where P is the pressure and D is the depth of the water. And K, of course, is the constant. So, first given, binigay, P is 300 when 5 meters ang deep. So, therefore, you have 300. Okay, palakihin ulit natin. You will solve for the K. Ayan. Ayan. Okay, so you will solve for the K. So, P is 300, your K is unknown, and then your D is, or your depth is 5 meters. So, paano ba natin itanggal si 5 dito para K na lang maiwan? Okay, we will divide both sides by 5. So, K divided by K5 or 5K divided by 5, 300 divided by 5. So, 300 divided by 5 is 60. And then, yung 5K divided by 5, baka cancel yung 5. So, K na lang matitira. Therefore, your K is 60. And now, what you will do is you solve this one or you make your equation of variation. So, P is equal to KD or P is equal to 60 D. And your D right now is 8. So, isosolve natin ngayon kung ano yung pressure kapag 8 meters na ang deep or depth of the water. So, 60 times 8, that is 480 pascals. And therefore, you can say that the pressure of the water when it is 8 meters deep is 8 Pascal. Alright. Ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Okay, so I hope hindi masyado tayong mabilis sa ating discussion for today. Pero I know, medyo madali kasi ang lesson. So, let's just continue. Okay, so ganun lang kadali ang direct variation. Now, let us go to our inverse variation. From the word itself, inverse, ibig sabihin, ang relationship nito is mas tumataas yung isa, bumababa ang apekto nung sa kabila is bumababa. Pag bumababa naman yung isa, yung apekto ng kabila ay umaakyat. Okay, so this is the relationship between two variables pa rin when there is a constant. Okay, di mawawala si constant. So, when one variable increases, the other decreases. Okay, and the product is unchanged. So, examples of this is the statement y varies inversely as x. Okay, and then sometimes there are problems na hindi sinasabi ang word na inversely, but in a matter of yung parang common sense, mayroong situation o mayroong relationship na malalaman mo na okay, inverse ang relationship nito. Later on, you will discover. Okay, now we have here examples. The number of burgers, P, varies inversely as the number of persons, M, sharing the burgers. So, if we will try to make a statement or a variation equation on this one, we will have P is equal to K over M. Okay, K over M. So, ganun lang kadali. So, divide tayo dito. Alright. We have now, let's start with example number 1, which is a problem, inverse variation word problem. The number of hours required to finish a certain job varies inversely as the number of persons on the job. Ibig sabihin nito, kapag may isang trabaho, mas madaling matatapos ang isang trabaho kapag mas maraming tao. Tama? Of course. Pero, kung kunti lang yung mga tao na nagtatrabaho, mas nagiging matagal ang pagtapos sa trabaho na yon. So, technically, in this example, it is known as inverse. Okay? Kahit hindi natin sabihin varies inversely dito, alam natin, or in a common sense, alam natin na the more people work for a certain job, mas madali talaga matatapos. Kaysa yung isang tao na, or kaysa sa isang trabaho na one-man show lang gawin ang isang trabaho. Okay, so here is the situation. If 9 persons require 10 hours to finish a job, how long would it take for 30 persons to finish the job? So 9 hours, 10 hours ang duration ng isang trabaho kung siyam or kung 9 people lang ang gagawa. Now, kapag maraming tao ang gagawa, tingin nyo, ano kaya ang number of hours or gaano kaya katagal matapos ang trabaho? Okay, I'm sure liliit because marami nang magtutulong-tulong doon sa trabaho na yon. Okay, so how do we do this one? Okay, so number of hours, that's the time. So we could represent it as T. So ikaw naman, kung gusto mo H, ikaw bahala. So walang problema dyan. So let's say, since we are talking about time, let's use T. And then the number of people, so let's use N. Okay, so if we represent this into a variation or equation, T is equal to K over N, where K is still the constant. Alright, so how do we solve this one? Of course, step number 3, after mo malaman kung anong problema, after mo ma-translate kung ano yung equation or formula para sa variation, next thing you do is to solve for the K. So we have here 10, which is 10 hours, and then 9, which is the number of people. So you will now solve for the K. Now, baka maano kayo dito, sir, bakit ang nangyari dito is parang blanco? Okay, live. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, so we have here 10 equals blank. Okay, so I'm sure this is a typographical error on our modules. So, students, if you encounter this one, I'm sure na ito, anuhan nyo lang talaga. So, let's just correct this part, okay? So, if this is t, that is 10. So, k, we have k, unknown, hindi pa natin alam. Our n is 9. So, k over 9. Meron ito ditong k divided by 9. Okay? Klaro tayo doon, ha? K divided by 9. So, question, how do we solve for k divided by 9? Okay, so, let us have this example muna. Alright? So, look at this one. So, hopefully, nakikita ninyo ang black whiteboard. Okay, so that is 10 equals k over 9. So, how do we solve for k? As what we have discussed this last week, you just cross multiply. So, of course, all whole numbers has over 1. So, k times 1, that is k. 9 times 10, that is 9 times 10, of course. And if ever we multiply 9 times 10, the answer is 90. So, therefore, our k here is 90. Now, after you get the k, you will now write your equation of variation, and that is t is equal to 90 over n. So, ito na ang gagamitin mong formula para sa next step ng problem mo. Okay. So, sabi dito, kung 30 people na ang tatrabaho for that problem, so, it says here, kung 30 people na, so itong n ngayon, ang gagawin mo lang is to change this as 90 over 30. And 90 divided by 30, that is 3. Alright, so the answer is 3 hours. Kaya nakikita nyo dito that the answer is 3 hours. Alright, so ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Alright, so I hope you got that one. Madali lang masyado, di ba? Pag inverse at saka direct ang problema. Okay, how about this second example? We have here, the time t required to drive a fixed distance varies directly as the speed. Okay, so speed naman ang pinag-uusapan. If it takes 5 hours at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour to drive a fixed distance, what speed is required to do the same trip in 4.2 hours? Okay, so my dear math learners, we all know that the formula for speed is equal to the distance over time. Kaya siya naging distance, kilometer, time, hour. So, kilometer per hour. So, para tulungan na din kayo dyan kung ano talaga yung formula para sa speed. Since it is kilometer per hour, kilometer is represented by distance, hours is represented by time, then we can say speed is equal to distance over time. Okay. So, we have here the time and the speed, right? So, since our k or the same trip, the same distance is being talked about, so hindi magmamatter dito si distance. Ang pinag-uusapan dito is the time and the speed only. So, t represent as the number of hours and s represents the speed. So, it is already stated in the first statement that the t varies inversely as s. So, we have t is equal to k over s. Okay? So, t is equal to k over s. So, solving for our k, of course, binigay dito, first is 5 hours and 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, so lakihan natin. So, we have here 5. Okay, nakalimutan na naman isulat. Ewan ko kung bakit. Hindi siguro marunong gumawa ng fraction. Okay, so again, so we have here, the formula is t is equal to ks. Okay, let me just emphasize that one. T is equal to k over s. So our t here is 5 hours. Our s is 80 kilometers per hour. So that will become t5 is equal to k over 80. Okay, so the same concept pa rin kanina, i-cross multiply mo pa rin, so your k is equal to 5 times 80. And when you multiply 5 and 80, the answer is 400. Okay, so 400 ang magiging k mo. So ngayon, if ever you wanted to know the distance, if ever you only have 4.2 hours at a fixed distance or 4.2 hours lamang ang kailangan mong tapusin ang trip na yon, so gaano dapat kabilis ang magiging ang tawag dyan. Now, look at this one, my dear students. So, from 5 hours, naging 4.2 hours. So, bumaba siya. So, since this is inverse, ibig sabihin, itong 80 kilometers ay mas malaki pa. Alright? So, we have now, if ever our K is 400, so this is 400, okay? And then, our speed is unknown. Okay, let me just show that one to you para at least mas makuha ninyo. Alright? Okay. So, we have here, our new formula is T, and then 400 yung K natin, and then your speed. Okay. So, ngayon, ano daw yung speed when it is 4.2 hours, and then that is 400 over S. So, as you can see, when we cross-multiply this one, medyo may variable pa rin, tama? So, you can apply the properties of the proportion. Okay? So, pwede mong gamitin ng alternation property. Pwede mo silang pagpalitin. So, this will become S is equal to 400 divided by 4.2. Okay? So, when you divide 400 by 4.2, the answer for that would be 95.42 kilometers per hour. Okay. And that is the answer for this problem. Okay, so ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. 400 divided by 4.2. Okay, so I hope nakuha ninyo ang discussion about the inverse variations and the direct variation. So ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Alright, so now therefore we can say that if ever you have 4.2 hours given in the same trip, you need to be more faster. So that is 95.24 kilometers per hour. So, ganon. Okay. All right. So, let's go to the joint variation. We have now the joint variation. It describes a situation when one variable depends on two or more variables. Okay. And what we do here is just para lang itong para lang itong direct, pero mas maraming variable lang ang pinag-uusapan. Okay, examples are Z varies jointly as X and Y. So, when you translate this, this will become Z is equal to K XY. Alright. Another is a statement. Okay. The weight of a rectangular block, which is of metal, W, varies jointly as the length and width and thickness. Okay, so length, L, W, width, and thickness. So, hindi nasabi dito, kulang ito. So, that will become W is equal to KLW T. May T pa rin. Okay? So, we are correcting also here. So, I hope when we are discussing here, nakikinig din kayo sa mga typographical error ng ng module natin para at least hindi kayo malito. So, we will correct this one. That is W is equal to KLW T. May T, letter T. Alright, because it talks about the length, L, the width, W, small letter W, and the thickness, T. And then we have the bigger or the capital letter W, which is the weight of the rectangular block. So, therefore, kailangan may T pa rin dito. Okay? So, hopefully, we got that one. Alright. Now, let's go to the word problem. Okay, ng joint variation. The area of a triangle varies jointly as the base, B, and the altitude, A, of the triangle. Okay, so area, nakadepende jointly sa base and altitude. So, basically, alam din naman natin, if ever you know the area of a triangle, that is, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Ulitin ko, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So, base is the base, of course, B. Height is the altitude, which is A. Pwede din H. And the area is A. So, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So, technically, given here, the area is 65 centimeters squared or square centimeters when your base is 10 centimeters and your altitude is 13 centimeters. Find the area whose base is 8 centimeters and the altitude is 11 centimeters. since we are talking about area, the constant of that one is 1/2 or 0.5. Ito yon. Okay? So nakikita na natin. Kahit hindi natin ito isolve, kung ikaw, meron ka talaga, kung na-memorize mo talaga yung mga formula ng mga geometric figures, and the area of a rectangle will always be, if ever the base and height is given, will always be 1/2 base times height. So the 1/2 there is the constant. That is why the constant here has been computed and been solved, and that is 0.5 or 1/2. Alright? So kahit hindi mo isolve yun, kung alam mo yun sa utak mo na that is 1/2, then you can do so. Okay. But don't get me wrong, my dear math learners. The area of a triangle can be solved in 3 ways. I have a video on that one, how I solve the area of a triangle in 3 different ways. That is on my channel. Alright. So gamit na doon ang mga trigonometric, something, and the Heron's formula. But so much for that one. Okay. So we already know that the K is 1/2 in the area of a triangle. So you can just immediately go to your second statement. Okay, ito. Ano yung second statement ng problem natin? Find, okay, liitan lang natin pa, masyadong, Alright, ito. Find the area of a triangle whose base is 8 centimeters and altitude is 11. So we have 8 and 11 here. So basically, 8 times 1/2 is 4. 4 times 11 is 44. So, the answer is 44. Okay. So, ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. So, you already have your area for the triangle if ever your base is 8 centimeters and if your altitude is 11 centimeters. Of course, you will write the unit of measure for area, and that is square centimeters. Square units, specifically for area. But since centimeters ang given dito, so therefore we can put square centimeters or centimeters to the power of 2. Yan siya. Okay, so ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Alright, let us go to the next problem. We have here the volume V. Okay, litan nun. Alright. So the volume V of a cone varies jointly as the height and the square of the radius. So that is h times r squared. Okay, because square of the radius. So V is equal to k h r squared. Okay. Now, statement here is if a cone with a height of 8 centimeters and a radius of 2 centimeters has a volume of 33.5 cubic centimeters, what is the volume of a cone with a height of 6 centimeters and a radius of 4 centimeters. Okay, so basically, ganito lang, my dear math learners. Ang gagawin mo lang is to get first the first statement, your first given. Ano ba yung first given natin? So, given dito is 8 centimeters ang height at ang radius ay 2 centimeters. Okay, so ito yung formula natin. V is equal to KHR squared kasi because of the term square of the radius. Okay? Square of the radius. So, hopefully, hindi nyo makalimutan yan. Okay. Now, so V is equal to KHR squared. Our H is 8. Ito yon. Okay? Our R squared, our R is 4. So, you will multiply this by itself. So, 4 times 4 yan siya. Okay? And then, your volume is 33.5. So, we have 33.5 cubic centimeters. So, ang gagawin mo lang is, eto, may nakalimutan na naman dito, oh. Alright? So, this is your formula. So, when you substitute it, V, 33.5, K, unknown, H is 8. Ang R squared natin, dapat meron pa itong 4 squared. Okay, 4 squared. 4 to the power of 2. So, if ever you multiply 8 and 4 squared, so 4 squared is 16. 16 times 8, so ganun ang sagot. Ang sagot ng 8 times 16 would be 108, okay? So, 33.5 divided by 108. So, yun ang mga sagot. Pero I think this is wrong. Wait ha, let's try to check. Let's open the... Of course, since this is... we are having a... parang mabilisan lang. Let's try to use calculator, okay? So, we have 4 times 4 times 8. So, that is 128 rather. Hindi pala 108. 128. So, if we divide 33 by 33.5, by, divide tayo ha, divide by 128. The answer is 0.2617. Okay, so this is already wrong. Okay, so my dear math learners, if you are listening right now, we are correcting this one. Okay, so this K here is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. So that is 0.26. Yung K natin is 0.2617. Okay, so 0.2617. So if we round this off, that is 0.26. Okay, so ito yung magandang time na i-discuss natin sa whiteboard. Alright. Let me show you this one. Okay. So, hopefully makita nyo ito. Okay. Ayan. So, giving here, we have the volume varies jointly as the height and the square of the radius. So, r squared. Given daw that is, the volume is 33.5 cubic centimeters if the height is 8 and the radius is 4 centimeters. So that will become like this. Okay? So if we do this one, 8, 4 squared is 16. So 16 times 8, that is 128. Alright. And this is still 33.5. If we divide both sides by 128, then this will be cancelled. Our K is 0.26. Okay? That is our K. So, if we correct this one, my dear math learners, so this will be the number that we will be using. And if we write our equation of variation here, that is V is equal to 0.26 times H, or our height, R squared. Okay? So, if we try to apply that one in our next problem, so what will be the height of what will be the volume if the height is 6 and the radius is 4 centimeters. So, if we check, our height here, lumiit, pero ang ating radius hindi nagbago. So, from the original, ito daw naging 6. Ano daw ang magiging volume? So, the volume is equal to 0.26 times our height is S, or our altitude or height is 6, and then our radius is still 4 squared. Okay. Radius is 4 centimeters. And then we get the squared of that. So what we do here is very simple. You just multiply all of this. 0.26 times 6 times 4 squared. So that is 0.26 times 6. The answer for that one is 1.56. And then you multiply it by 16 because 4 squared is 16. So the answer is 24.96. So volume is 24.96 cubic centimeter. And not, saan dito? And not 100.8 centimeters. So mas, kung titingnan natin, now let me show you this one, my dear math learners. Let's check the relationship, okay? Medyo nagkakasipon ako. I'm very sorry for that. Okay. Pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang discussion dito sa Math Learning with Sir Ash. Okay. So, tingnan natin ang relationship. Okay. Let's talk about the relationship para at least maintindihan ninyo. Okay. Nagets ko na. Ang given pala dito sa first is 2 centimeters. Okay. Very good. So, nandito pala. Kaya pala naging 4 agad. So, 2 squared. Okay, dito. So, erase tayo, erase. So, my dear math learners, let's check whether they are really correct. Sige. Okay. So, kaya pala naging 4, hindi na 4 squared. Ayan. Okay. So, ulit tayo ha. With the K, we have 8 times 4. 4 siya because the given is 2 lang pala. Akala ko 4 kanina. So, 2 squared, that is 4. So, 8 times 4, that is 32. So, 33.5 divided by 32. Yes, that is correct. 1.05. Ayun pala. 1.05. Okay, so this is correct, my dear math learners. Alright, this is correct. Because of 2 pala ang binigay. Okay. So, using this one, we have apply this one to our next situation in which our H is 6 and our radius is 4. Okay, so 4 squared I'm very sorry, my dear math learners. Okay. God bless me. Okay. So, we have here 6 centimeters times 4 squared. So, we have 1.05 times 6 times 16. And you have 100.8 centimeter or cubic centimeter. Okay, so this is correct. Alright. So, at least dito sa Math Learning with Sir Ash, we have tried to correct it, my dear math learners. And we also have observed na mali pala tayo pagtingin sa radius sa first given. Kasi akala natin na 4, instead that is also 2 pala. So, erratum, correct pala ang nandito sa module. Alright, okay. So, at least, for the final statement, you have 100.8 cubic centimeters when the height is 6 centimeters and the radius is 4 centimeters. Alright, so ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Okay, so again, correct ang nandito sa module, except lang dun kanina dito. Nakalimutan ito. Okay, and for some other substitution. So at least nakita natin na may mga typographical error lang. At least, yun lang ang mali sa module natin. Typographical error and not the actual solution talaga. Okay, so let us continue to our final variation. We have here, combined variation is the combination of the direct and the inverse variation. So example of that is z varies directly as x and inversely as y. So we have here z is equal to k, where k is the constant. So kapag i-translate natin ito, this will become z is equal to kx over y. Kx over y. Alright. Now, second statement, we have here the electrical resistance R, okay, of a wire varies directly as its length. So you can write already R is equal to KL. Okay. And inversely as the square of the diameter, of its diameter D. So since sinabi dito, inversely, you divide square of its diameter. So square of its diameter, that is D squared. Okay, D to the power of 2. So if you write this one, this will become R is equal to KL over D squared. Okay, so ganun lang kadali ang pagtatranslate kapag combined variation naman. So step by step ka lang, huwag mong diretsuhin para at least hindi ka mawala, my dear math learners. Okay, so next we will go to our word problem, example of the word problem. So we have here, the electrical resistance of a wire varies directly as the length and inversely as the square of D. Okay, so yun yung, ito yun, okay? Ito yung sinabi ko ngayon lang. Yan. R is equal to KL over D squared. Alright. So, we have here the solution or the statements. Given, if a wire is 30 meters long, so that is the length, and 0.75 millimeters in diameter, so that is the D here, and has a resistance of 25 ohms, so that is our R, find the length of a wire of the same material whose resistance and diameter are 30 ohms and 1.25 millimeters. So, ang R natin is 30 ohms and our diameter is 1.25. So, ang nawawala ngayon is yung L. Okay, yung L ang nawawala ngayon dito sa problem na ito. Okay, so paano natin gawin? So, first things first, what you will do is to solve first for your K. Alright. So, we have our R. The first given of R is 25. So, you write here 25. Ayan, 25. Sana kaya ito. Okay, so mag-whiteboard tayo, my dear math learners, para at least makita ninyo ang solution. Okay? Kaya parang magkakaroon na ng different format or sa showing of different format sa sa naturang module talaga. Okay, so let's try. Ayan, whiteboard tayo. So R, formula muna, R is equal to KL over D squared. Alright. So our R is 25 ohms. Alright. Our K is unknown. Hindi pa natin alam ang K. Kailangan malaman muna natin si K. our L is 30 and our diameter is 0.75 ba yun? Yes, 0.75. So 0.75 squared. So what you can do here is you get the 0.75 times 0.75 and then you multiply it to your 25. So giving you, so K and 30 here, may over 1 yan dyan, di ba? So K and 30, that is 30K times 1. So that is 30K. Pag i-multiply mo to, that is 25 times 0.75 squared. So once you solve that one, okay, try natin kung tama ba sila dito. Okay. Once you solve 0.75, that will give you an answer of 0.5625. And when you multiply 0.5625 to 25, you will get 14.0625. Okay. And then here is the 30K. You divide both sides by 30. You divide both sides by 30. This will be cancelled. K is now 0.47. Okay, so question, did we answer the problem? Not yet, my dear math learners. So, ang gagawin mo lang dito is this 0.47, you will now write it to another formula, which is the R is equal to KL over D squared. So, yung K mo dito magiging 47. So, this will become R is equal to 0.47 L over D squared. Now, isosolve mo na ngayon si L. If your D is 1.25, okay? So, 1.25 squared tayo dito sa D. And your R is 30. Okay, 30. Yan. Nagubot na si sir. Ayan. So, 0.47 L. Yan. So, what you can do here is 1.25 times 1.25 and then times 30 ka lang. Cross multiply. Okay? So, after that one, you divide it by 0.47. So, as you can see, parang ganito lang yan, my dear math learners. Okay? Hopefully, nakikita nyo ito. Okay? So, we have here 30. Tingin sa whiteboard. So, 1.25 times 1.25, the answer is 1.5625. Then, you multiply it, cross-multiply to 30. The answer for that one will be 46.875. And then, you divide both sides by 0.47 para L na lang ang matira. And the answer for that one is 99.73. Okay, so ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. So, ito nga. 99.73. Ang problema lang sa module na ito is hindi nila napapakita yung part kung saan yung step-by-step solution kasi naging R blanco, 30 blanco. So, hindi natatapos or hindi nakukomplete yung substitution. Okay? So, I hope, my dear math learners, you just have a higher understanding and higher, ano ba tawag nito? Parang i-consider mo na lang, consideration na, okay, nakalimutan lang siguro ito. Okay, so I hope hindi kayo ma-confuse masyado. Okay? So at least tinatry na natin na i-correct yan siya dito sa Math Learning with Sir Ash. And so for the final tawag dyan, statement, we have the length of the wire is 99.73. Okay, when R is equal to 30 ohms and D is equal to 1.25 millimeters. Okay, so discussions pa lang yun, my dear math learners. So ngayon, ikaw as the students, your job or your work will start here. Okay? So dito sa let us practice. Activity 1, supply me. Cite some situations at home and make a variation statement on each of the following. So when we say make a variation statement, sentence ang sagot nito, my dear math learners. Gagawa ka ng isang statement wherein ang statement na yon ay nagpapakita ng relationship ng direct variation. Example, the more money I save, the bigger or the heavier my coin bank goes. So that is an example of a direct variation. Ayan, binigyan ko kayo ng example. Alright. So, ganun lang din. Gawa kayo ng isang statement sa inverse, gawa kayo ng isang statement sa joint, gawa kayo ng isang statement. So, kahit saan dyan, pwedeng sa oras ng pagtulog ninyo, pwedeng sa pagluluto ninyo, sa pagluluto nyo ng kanin or ng ulam, or sa pagtingin nyo ng, or number of hours na ginagamit ninyo sa panonood ng TV or paggamit ng cellphone. Maraming klaseng relationship na malalaman ninyo or makukuha ninyo sa bahay. Okay? So, I'm sure there is a direct, there is an inverse, there is a joint and combined variation on that part. Okay, so I'm sure madali lang ito, my dear math learners. And, again, statement ang sagot dito. Sasabihin nyo talaga. Okay, parang sentence. Alright, now let's go to the complete me. Activity number 2. We have here, I think, okay. So we have here, find the constant of variation and write the formula to express the relationship. Constant of variation, of course, that is K. So, I'll just give you an example for number 5. We have here A varies directly as B. So, the constant here, merong given 15, A is 15 when B is 5. So, remember, since this is direct, in the direct variation, the constant is solved when you divide the given letters. Okay? So, A is directly proportional or varies directly as B. So, that will be 15 divided by 5. So, the constant will be 3. Alright. So, ang sagot dito sa constant K is 3. And the formula for that one is A is equal to 3B. Ulitin ko, A is equal to 3B. Huwag niyong gawin ang KB. Bakit? Because the KB will serve as a formula for the whole, pero without the constant. So, dito sa formula na ito, tinatanong, ano yung constant of variation when you already solve the K. Okay? So, ulitin ko, the formula here is A is equal to 3B. Alright. So, ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. So, you solve first for the K and then after that, you write the equation of variation. Katulad ng sinasabi ko last week sa ating discussion. Okay, same goes here. P is jointly proportional to, so jointly, so this is a joint variation. So, P is equal to QR. Then, you solve for the value of K. Then, after that, you substitute the K to that formula I have just said, and then you put it here in the formula. Alright? So, ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. Okay, hindi ko tatapusin yan para at least meron na kayong idea. Okay, next is the solve my problem. Okay, so, we have here, solve the following problems applying the concept of direct, inverse, joint, and combined. Show solution. Sinabi na dito, my dear math learners, show solution. So, ipapakita nyo talaga ang step-by-step solution. Step 1, ganito, ganyan yan. Alright. So, the same as what the previous examples that has been given sa previous papers or sa mga papers dito sa taas. Okay. So, I'll just give you an example. So, number 1, that is inverse variation. Number 2, that is if men takes 8 days to type 10 books, apply the principle of variation. How many days will 8 men will take? Oh, ito, inverse pa rin ito. Inverse pa rin ito. So, you know how to translate kapag inverse, ha? Ito naman number 3, this is combined because we have here directly, varies directly, and inversely. Okay. Number 4, we have here varies directly as the mass, blah, blah, blah. Okay, direct variation lang ito. Okay, direct variation lang. We have D and M. For number 5, we have, what's this? Height, joint, okay, joint variation. So, varies jointly as the height and the area. So, the volume, V, the height, H, the area of its base, B. Alright. So, ganun lang kadali. Now, so let us remember, these are the generalization of the module. Direct is the relationship of two variables. When one goes up, the other one goes up. Inverse, two variables pa rin. When one goes up, the other one goes down, and vice versa. Joint variation, it's just the same as the direct variation, pero mas marami nga lang variables. Combined variation is the combination of the direct and the inverse variation. So steps in solving, know what type of variation it is. Second is translate the formula. Third is solve for the value of K, the constant. Fourth is to solve for the unknown value. for the second solution or second part of the problem by applying what you have solved in K. And then for the fifth is to write a conclusion of your final answer. Okay, and then we have now the let us assess, and this is an ABC pa rin, which is just the same as the pretest, but in this case, the author or the people behind the module is expecting na ito, may natutunan na talaga kayo at marami na kayong na-learn sa lesson na ito. Okay, so you can solve this one. And my dear math learners, if you do have some questions about our topic, feel free to put your inquiries in our comment section below. And kahit anong mga lessons pa yan or kahit anong mga topics pa yan na nasa channel natin, you can put it in our comment section below. By the way, I just like to emphasize that these topics, itong word problems and as well as the variations, you can also check this out in our playlist in the grade 9 quarter 2 mathematics folder. Okay, so makikita nyo doon na meron ito sila. Okay, so kung gusto nyo ng mga deeper discussion, in-depth examples, so may mga ano doon. Okay, so free lang ito lahat, my dear math learners. So I hope you have learned a lot of things on this topic for today. And again, after your post-test, you have the let us enhance. For my students, you don't need to do this one because I already have given you the performance task in the quizzes natin in our GCs. And then, finally, we have here the reflection. Of course, ito, isasalin nyo pa rin parati because the reflection will serve us teachers to know what are the things you had a difficulty, kung ano yung mga nahihirapan kayo, na-confuse kayo, at kung ano yung mga, okay, naintindihan ko agad-agad ito. Okay, so just be honest. Walang mali or tama na sagot dito because this is just about what you have learned, what you have realized, what you have reflected about this module. Okay, so I think I have already discussed the because the next part of this one is the answer key. All right. So my dear math learners, if bago ka pa sa channel na ito, feel free to click that subscribe button and to click also the notification bell para updated ka. Remember this, my dear math learners, our channel has planned or para decided na i-discuss talaga ang lahat ng mga junior high schools modules na binigay ng DepEd para at least matulungan kayo sa inyong pag-learn tungkol sa lessons ninyo sa quarter 2. And hopefully, if God will provide, patuloy-tuloy na ito hanggang sa quarter 3 and quarter 4. I hope marami pa rin susuporta dito sa ating channel. And if ever you think na ito makatulong talaga sa ibang tao or sa ibang estudyante, you can also share our links to your fellow friends, classmates, and schoolmates. Okay? This has been your free access YouTube Edu Creator Math Teacher Ash. And always remember, it is fun to learn mathematics kapag marami tayong nagsasama-sama. Thank you so much. God bless. And keep safe always.
Over yonder, so I can take a look around at what you've seen. I can see from where I am you're on an adventure.